All right, man. Today's the day. Today is the day that we get to see the earliest debate in presidential history featuring the oldest candidate in all of American history attempting to debate a guy that the leftist lunatics of the world are going to tell you is also a historic example for a lot of reasons. But obviously, the obvious one, and you have to wonder on that note, how many times will Joe Biden fumble through some variation of no one is above the law and convicted felon this, convicted felon that? My guess is quite a few times, right? But my gut tells me that Donald Trump is going to be able to block all those typical lazy Democrat buzzword, just focus grouped attacks, right? But whatever happens, I mean, we don't know, but whatever happens, it's going to be interesting. And honestly, I actually woke up today thinking about what it must be like to be one of the very, very few people in this world that actually consider themselves true Biden supporters. I mean, they have got to be completely freaking out because here's the thing. I mean, even if you completely say and believe and feel that you support Joe Biden, you're going to be on pins and needles with his every word because even the people that believe in the guy do not believe that his brain functions enough to debate. I mean, the guy's been sequestered for a week with a team of 16 people to game plan and literally train on how to just stand there and not look like an idiot for 90 minutes. Just the goal is to not look like social services needs to get involved and come after Jill Biden, right? But we're going to find out if a week was enough. But we now know that Joe Biden has got a plan.
What do you feel like you have to accomplish to be successful on Tuesday? What do you have to do to win the debate?
Just tell the truth. Thank you.
I gotta be honest, man. I'm all for telling the truth, but this is not a good plan. I mean, look at sports. When you go into the playoffs, you do not change your style of play. I mean, Joe Biden is a liar and he's a plagiarist and a blowhard. I mean, he has been for 60 freaking years. And that's not fair to just expect the guy to go out there and start telling the truth. I mean, I don't think he can. I mean, the truth as far as Joe Biden is concerned is he was raised by Puerto Ricans that sent him to a historically black college. And after that, he went to law school where he graduated, tip top of his class because he's so smart. But while in law school, he just couldn't shake the thought of his Uncle Bosie getting eaten by cannibals. And he just kept thinking, why? Why Uncle Bosie? Why couldn't they have eaten corn pop? I mean, he was such a bad dude. And it drove him mad. It drove him a little crazy, right? And he left the law behind, which that part is actually true. He left the law behind. And he became an over-the-road trucker, which led him on a wild journey. And he became a civil rights leader, and he freed Nelson Mandela from prison. I mean, that's the truth to Joe Biden. The only thing more true than that is the fact that he's only got 6 grandkids. So I don't know. I don't think that's a very good plan. I think maybe a better plan is let's just get a diversity hire out there and let's try to get ahead of this disaster that's coming.
When there is an opportunity for this president to speak to millions of Americans, he shows up and he meets the moment. So obviously the president's going to look forward to Thursday doing just that, laying out what he normally does, what he's done the last 3.5 years, how he's going to continue to build on the economy. We're talking about historic numbers in creating jobs, low unemployment rate, and not forgetting that we can't leave communities that have been normally left behind, right? This president met and led this moment, and it is about him. It is not about him. It is about the American people. It is not about what political, grievances he may have. It's not about trying to get back at people. It's about making sure that he stands with majority of Americans, and not even majority of Americans, all of Americans. The president has said consistently he is a president for Americans in red states and in blue state. It does not matter. He will meet the moment and deliver what is truly needed and what they want to see in order to make sure that we have a fair and just nation.
I don't know, man. This is also probably not a very good plan. I mean, she's out there, she's trying to get ahead of the epic failure that is going to be Joe Biden telling the truth. And she can't tell the truth. I mean, she's just another one, man. She does not know where the line is. It's just gaslight, gaslight, gaslight. With, of course, she's on MSNBC with Al Sharpton. I mean, she gets no pushback from them, especially a guy like the Rev is not going to push back. He doesn't know what she's talking about. But, I mean, any journalist, a real journalist could do it. I mean, she says the economy is doing well. And maybe that's true if the economy is only the stock market and the stock market alone, because we were promised an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, whatever that means. And whatever this is, it's not that. And again, they always want to come back to Joe Biden being the most prolific jobs creator in history. But the people know the truth about that. They think that we're stupid. That was 3 years ago. And really, the only jobs they truly created were the ones that replaced the ones that they destroyed during a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, is what they like to call it. And we know this. People know this. But really, here's the thing. If it's true, if they're economic geniuses, the kind that would be required to create jobs like the flick of a switch, well, where have they been since then? What have they done for the remaining 3 years, man? I mean, no one buys it, right? But the worst part, and the absolute worst lie that she just told, is that Joe Biden is a uniter. She says, nothing we're going to see tonight is about him. It's not about any political grievance that he might have. It's about you. It's about me. And it's about being a president of all people. And I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's how Joe Biden feels. But I think I want to hear it from him.
And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards, to build a future or obsess about the past, to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together we can choose a different path.
So this is what I just heard the uniter in chief say. He's like, look, guys, I know that you're obsessed with the past. I know you MAGA types, you believe in division and fear and you live in the darkness. And I believe you've made your choice. You embraced anger and you live in the shadow of lies. But guys, I'm Joe Biden. I mean, think of all the great things that we could do together. I'm a uniter. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's what I heard. And I don't think so, man. I mean, I'm out. And this is not looking good for liberals. I mean, no wonder that they're all probably losing their minds today. I would too. But, they just have to remember he's Joe Biden and he's a good and he's an honest guy. He's a family guy. He's Amtrak Joe, man. He's the poorest man in Congress and he's doing all this stuff for the right reasons. Yeah.
Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years. It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open. Their crazed faces, illuminated by torches, veins bulging and bearing the fangs of racism, chanting the same anti-Semitic bile heard across Europe in the 30s. And they were met by a courageous group of Americans. And a violent clash ensued. And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides? With those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it. And in that moment, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime.
He said it himself. He's doing it for the right reasons, man. He's going to stop all these darkness-dwelling, fear-mongering, anger-dwelling MAGA folks that already made their choice, But the problem is, it's all bogus. It's all false. And every single person knows it. And if Donald, here's the thing. I've said it a million times, but if Donald Trump was half as evil, half as dangerous, half of any of the thousands of things they've said about him, then they wouldn't have to lie. They would not have to fabricate. And if Joe Biden had actually finished at the top of his class, if he had actually learned to pay attention, well, I think Donald Trump could probably save this poor guy a whole lot of trouble. If he had just taken Donald Trump at his word, he would have never, ever been elder abused by an entire government.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfair.
Yeah, but Joe Biden did not take him at his word. He didn't listen to the words, and he didn't take them for what they meant, right? He relied on the machine to chop them all up, and instead of just showing people what Donald Trump actually said, they told him what they believe he said. They told him what he meant, what he must have meant. I mean, the entire corporate media machine is culpable in that. I mean, how many people do you know that actually believe the very fine people garbage, right? Every single person in the media is responsible for that, including, of course, one of tonight's award-winning, above reproach, fair, and completely unbiased debate moderators. Yeah.
I think the issue that Eric was expressing is the reluctance to criticize President Trump for specifically saying things like very fine people were marching in that rally that had swastikas and anti-Semitic chants. And there were not any very fine people in that rally.
That's right.
And it wasn't morally ambiguous. It was morally wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
so
the president
look,
said.
Jake Tapper knows that that is not true. He knows what is true, right? He also knows that he's never heard anything true at all come from Joe Biden. But tonight, Jake Tapper is going to try to do his part for the machine, man. And he's got a pretty interesting task when you just look at it from the outside looking in, right? He's got to cover up for Joe Biden's stumbles. He's got to deflect from Joe Biden's brain failures. And he's got to silence and challenge and literally probably mute Donald Trump. And he's got to do it all while trying to make it look fair and balanced and trying to make it look real. And I don't think he can pull it off. You know, my gut tells me that I really do believe that tonight is probably the end of Joe Biden, and it's the beginning of the end for this media machine. And it's going to be brought to you by the one guy who even has a small chance of doing it. But that's my hope anyway. And that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.